Today I had a plan, a real plan. I told myself I was going to complete a project, a money earning project. And then a thought popped in. What if I turned this into a reflection? And here I am, standing in the middle of the detour. Great things, great things. Welcome in to Words on a Higher Note, our space to reflect, reset, rise, and remember who we really are beneath the layers. I'm your host, Jaylyn, and I'm glad you're here. Before we begin, a quick reminder. This reflection is a moment and an invitation to reconnect with yourself. It's not therapy or medical advice. Today's reflection is titled, Detours, when your mind changes the route. There's a kind of distraction that doesn't come from the outside of us. It's not the phone ringing. It's not the doorbell. It's not somebody calling your name from across the house. It comes from inside. It's a thought that pops in. And it doesn't walk in like it's politely visiting. It pops in like it lives there. It pops in like it pays your bills. It's like it has a key. Like it's allowed to interrupt you mid-sentence. And the thought is never dramatic. It's never, oh, the building is on fire, get out, get out. It's always something like, wait, don't forget to, or hold on, do this real quick. Ooh, you know what would be good? Let me check something real fast. Let me look that up. Let me just. And that let me just has sent me on more detours than any GPS that I wasn't following. Because the pop-in thought doesn't just give a suggestion, it pulls you. And if you know that pull, you know what it feels like when you are doing one thing, and then the thought drops in. And suddenly, you find yourself doing 3 other things that you did not plan to do. And you're not careless when this happens. It's not that you don't care. It's not that you're lazy. Sometimes we are actually trying to be responsible. We're trying not to forget. We're trying to stay on top of life. But the way it plays out is you start a task, you get pulled, you detour, you come back, you restart, you get pulled again, you detour again, and this cycle goes on and on and on. And then you look up and you're tired and you're like, I did a lot, but what did I actually finish? What did I complete? So today, this reflection is about naming, not shaming, the distraction. Because when we can see a thing fully, we can stop being controlled by it. And let me confess something, because this is literally how this reflection was born. Today I had a plan, a real plan. I told myself I was going to complete a project that I had been working on, a money earning project. I told myself this is getting done today. I became distracted from my plan. And then a thought popped in, not even a bad thought, a creative thought. And the thought said, what if I turned this, the fact that I became distracted, into a reflection? And here I am, many hours later, working on a reflection about distractions. While the task I said I would finish today is still waiting on me. And I can feel the clock ticking. I have about 2 hours left in this day to finish the task I said I was going to finish. So, this reflection is not me preaching from a mountaintop as if I have been there and done that. This is me standing in the middle of the detour, telling the truth about my detour. Because the pop-in thought can feel productive in the moment. It can feel inspired. It can feel like purpose. But if it pulls you away from what you chose to do that day or in that moment, it is still a detour. No matter how it disguises itself, it is a detour that is pulling you away from your intention. And if you think that is ironic, it is. So today, let's figure out how we can decide how to come back. I'm doing it. I'm trying to. And the goal is not to become a person who never gets distracted. The goal is to become a person who knows how to return. Because returning is a practice, which means we have to do it over and over again. Returning is a skill that we have to build. Returning is a decision we have to make over and over and over again until it becomes a part of how we are living. And now, this may be funny, but detours, they always feel like they make sense when they're happening. And every detour has a reason. And for me, my detours usually fall into 3 categories. So I don't forget. And this one sounds responsible. It sounds like, oh, I'm just trying to remember. I'm just trying to be on top of things. But honestly, sometimes I don't want to forget is not responsibility. Sometimes it's urgency. Sometimes it's the feeling that if you don't do it right now, it will evaporate from your mind forever. So you leave what you were doing to catch that thought, that urgent thought. But then the thought doesn't just get caught, it gets followed. And you're like going down this hole. And you're not just writing down the thing. Now you're doing the thing. Now you're starting the thing. Now you're reorganizing your life around the thing. All because it popped in. And 2, for me, that it's more interesting than what I was doing. Because let's be honest, it doesn't need a speech, this one. Because some tasks are boring. Some tasks are slow and repetitive. And the pop-in thought shows up with energy. The pop-in thought shows up like, let's have some fun. And now the thing you were doing feels like a task, an arduous task, homework. And the pop-in thought feels like freedom is coming tomorrow. So you leave the boring thing. But the boring thing doesn't leave you. It waits patiently. It waits. It waits for you like, oh, you just left me here half done? And then when you come back to it, guess what? You have to restart. And the third reason for me is just because. And this one is almost the funniest because it's the least deep. It doesn't have any depth to it. You detour simply because you can. There's no big reason, just impulse, just habit, just movement. The mind does what the mind does. It offers options. It opens these tabs in our mind. It suggests routes to take, different routes. And if you don't have a practice for returning, your attention starts living like it has no home address. It just roams. It becomes a nomad. So let's see how we can pivot. And the problem is not that the thought popped in. The problem is the agreement that says, if a thought pops in, I must follow it. Because that's the agreement we made with ourselves. If we're following the pop-in thought, we have made a silent, or maybe not so silent, agreement saying, I'm going to follow it. And it becomes a lifestyle. That detour becomes a lifestyle. And if this is landing with you, as it lands with me, the good news is that that agreement can be rewritten. The practice, we can capture it. And when I say capture it, meaning, I'm not saying ignore the thought. Write the thought down. Put it someplace safe. You capture it, but you don't chase it. And not chasing it means you're not doing it right now. And that's practical. So you're going to honor that it showed up, but you're also going to honor what you were already doing when it showed up. And the pop-in thought often comes with some pressure. And the pressure says, do it now. But a thought can be important without being immediate. So instead of chasing it, you capture it. And the phrase for this is externalize it, park it, then come back to it. Externalize it means put it outside of your mind. Give it somewhere to go that isn't your nervous system. Park it, because not every thought needs to be done, carried out, driven immediately. Then come back, because the moment you were in still matters. The task that you were working on, it still matters. The person you were speaking to still matters. The prayer you were praying still matters. So we're going to externalize it, we're going to park it, and then we're going to come back to it. And again, put that thought somewhere safe. Give it a landing place so your attention can stop chasing it and your mind can focus and return to what you choose. And that becomes a boundary that we have to create. And that is a line in the sand. Because the detours are not always harmful. Sometimes detours are helpful. But the constant detours create fragmentation. And the fragmentation or fragmented attention creates unfinished living, because we have all of these tabs open and they're not finished, so we can't close them. So we're going to, when these thoughts pop in, we're going to externalize it. We're going to put it someplace safe. And we're going to leave it there until we are able to come back to it when we have finished what we were working on. And no matter how many times you have to return to the task you're working on, you return to it, and it's okay. Because restarting is not a failure. Restarting is training. You're training yourself. You are training your attention to return. You are training your nervous system not to panic at every pop-in. You are training yourself to finish, to complete what you are working on. And finishing does something powerful. Finishing quiets the mental noise that says you forgot something. Finishing reduces that internal pressure that keeps tugging at you. Finishing builds trust with yourself. Because honestly, it's hard to feel grounded. It's hard to feel whole when your day is full of half starts. And again, this is not about becoming rigid in how you're doing things. This is not about never having a creative thought or never following a creative thought. It's about not letting that creative thought take control of your current moment. because that pop-in thought is powerful. And it will convince you it's the most important thought you have ever had. It will show up like, excuse me, I am the main character. You get to decide what the main character is today. Take charge. Think about it. When you're working, the pop-in thought shows up and tries to recruit you into another task. It's not always a bad task. It's just not the task you chose. So hold for a sec. Take a breath. Externalize it. Park it. And come back to the next right step. What were you working on? That's the doable next right step. A next right step is gentle. A next right step keeps you moving without overwhelming you. Have you ever had these moments when you're working in your home or even at work, cleaning, doing a task, and the pop-in thought comes and suddenly you're doing a quick reset that becomes a 2-hour reorganization? So finish the small loop first. And the loop is that thing you started but didn't finish. Close the current loop before you open a new one. Because I used to keep starting new loops. And when I say used to, I mean like yesterday. Right? I used to keep starting, well, let me not say used to. I keep starting new loops. And then I would stand in the middle of my house, whatever room I'm in. And I'm like, why does it look worse than when I started? Or, why haven't I completed anything after working on many things? Ugh, so frustrating. But I'm working on it. And when you're meditating, you sit down to be present. And your mind is like, perfect. Now that you're quiet, let's review everything. Total opposite of what you're there to do. And sometimes it's funny because you're sitting there trying to be peaceful and your mind starts building a grocery list. So what do you have to do? Force yourself to return to the meditation. No matter how many times it takes, return again and again and again. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong. You have to return. You have to practice returning so it becomes a habit, a skill. And when you're praying, sometimes prayer turns into split attention. You start with sincerity, and your mind starts wandering off to errands, conversations, and what you forgot to do. I remember during a meeting, a minister was speaking about this, and she said our minds wander during prayer. And every time we realize we are no longer on the prayer, we must start over from the beginning. And we have to keep starting until our focus is solely on the prayer, or what we are doing in that moment. And I think about those words from this minister often, because as I'm in prayer, my mind wanders. And sometimes I'm thinking, if I followed that suggestion, I would be in prayer for a very long time. And being in prayer for a very long time is not negative. It's just that if I stay there until my mind stops wandering, what else is not being done? So I have been in this active practice of when I realize that my mind has wandered off the prayer, I bring it back. And it happens, it's happening. It happens often. But what I am finding, since I am consciously in this act of practicing to come back, it's happening less. I'm staying focused on the prayer more. And when you're talking to someone, the pop-in thought can make you switch topics mid-sentence. And I apologize for anyone who I've done this to. And you probably looking like, what just happened? I apologize. So let's practice finishing the sentence you started. And not because it has a grand finale, not because the sentence is perfect, but because finishing trains you. It trains your mind to stop wandering. Because finishing trains presence. And presence is a form of love. And when your detours feel productive, and let's talk about the trickiest kind of detour, the one that looks productive. Because sometimes the detour is, let me go do that thing I've been avoiding. So out of guilt, we say, oh, look at me being responsible, right? So you go take care of that. But if the detour pulls you away from what you were doing, and now you have 5 open loops, even 2 is too many, but you have 5 open loops, you're not actually being productive. You're being scattered, and being scattered is exhausting mentally, and it can become exhausting physically because you are trying to complete so many tasks. So, here's a question we can ask when the pop-in hits. Is this a detour I'm choosing or a detour I'm obeying? Because they're different. Chosen detours have a time and a place. I'm going to do this. I'm going to finish it. It's done. The obedient detours, they just take you. They just take you down this lane that you were not planning to go to, that you didn't know existed until that pop-in happened. So if we take nothing else from today, take this. Externalize it, park it, then come back. And if you come back and you realize you forgot what you were doing, don't spiral. Don't be upset with yourself. Just stop. Take a breath and ask, what was I doing? And then you're going to take the next right step. Then return again until it's done. And what do your detours usually give you? What do they give you? Relief from boredom, relief from discomfort, a false sense of control, the fear of forgetting, the thrill of something new. And what would change if we practice returning until completion, no matter how many restarts it takes? And today's takeaway is simply externalize it. The thought that pops in, externalize it. We're going to park it. Then we're going to come back to it. We're going to put that thought somewhere safe. We're going to give it a landing place so your attention can stop chasing it and your mind can focus and return to what you chose to do. And if you want a companion, listen about this. Season 1, Reflection 12, was about brain fog and the working memory. And the title is, Wait, what was I saying? Our Dear John letter to brain fog. And if this reflection offered a thought, a feeling, or a moment of clarity, you are invited to share it, post it, leave a comment on the Words on a Higher Note listen page or on a streaming platform where you're listening. Let's stay connected. Follow or subscribe so future reflections meet you when they arrive. Thank you for tuning into Words on a Higher Note, where reflection meets elevation, where grace meets growth, where personal evolution is not rushed, but embraced, honored, and celebrated. Until next time, keep listening for the higher note. Say, be, and it is.